to Sober Smash. Get to the core issues with King Scott and Dr. Joe and get Sober Smashed.
And welcome to Sober Smash Live. Today's special guest is Riccardi, the CEO of Fellowship Living. He'll be with us in a moment, but right now, King Scott.
Hey, Jonesy, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing just fine. Scott, how are you?
I'm doing good. It looks like we're the Barney twins today. We're both wearing purple.
We did not call each other, ladies and gentlemen. This is just a freak of nature here.
Definitely not planned.
No.
I think I have one purple shirt, and this is it. And I walk in here in the studio, and I see you wearing purple.
So if you want to go on our website, you can order from the Barney collection like the rest of us.
Exactly.
Hey, Scott, I got to tell you, we played in a golf tournament the other week
yes,
for a really good cause.
Yes, we did.
And as a matter of fact, we could talk, a lot of it has to do with our guest that's coming up.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of fun in that tournament.
We sure did. I hate to say it, the bird I hit on the eighth hole is doing much better.
Yes.
and that's the truth. It wasn't a birdie. My driver breaks. One piece goes into the water. The ball hits a seagull that was eating grass.
Yes.
Fell over, got up, and walked away.
Well, the bird felt like it was safe because it was directly in front of you, so he figured the ball was not going to go that way. But
is that called a double birdie?
It was a double birdie. I think we're the only ones to actually hit a birdie and get a birdie on the same hole.
Unbelievable.
It was crazy. But the bird did. The bird. It was wonky for a moment, and then it was fine. We made sure the bird was okay. Can't say the same for your driver, though. That's not salvageable.
No, that was in pretty bad shape after that. But, what are you going to do? You play golf once every 5 years, and that's what happens.
That was, yeah, but it was a lot of fun. And
lots of fun for a good cause, always trying to help everyone out. And, we'll do it again soon.
Absolutely. As soon as you order a new driver, of course. How are the kids, family, everybody good?
Everybody's great. Good to be back in here today. Excited about our guest. I think he's going to have a lot to say about what's going on here in South Florida and throughout the country also with Sober Living. And you should have good input on what's happening.
Yeah. It's always nice to find some people that are really just doing the right thing for the right reasons.
You know what it is? Too many people talk about the bad things that are happening in substance abuse and the whole industry. And to find people that are doing the right thing and for the right cause, it's always good.
Well, it's an easy trap to fall into. Negativity.
It's
good press to have negativity.
It really is. Let's talk about the good stuff that's going on.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about where people can get help and help them with their sobriety and, plan the rest of their life in a sober world. So I think our first guest is a guy that can shed some light onto what we're doing.
Absolutely. Like I said, a positive message to send out there, and there are a lot of good people doing a lot of good things.
I think so.
So much focus on the negativity. It's just too much.
Well, I think we got somebody here. Is somebody at the door?
Nobody's answering the door, Scott.
I think we got him coming
there
in.
We go.
Here he is. There's the man of the hour. How you doing, buddy?
Great.
Rick, good to see you.
Rick,
have a seat. Put on some headphones.
Radio all this time?
We have been.
Oh.
Yes, we are live here on SoberSmash.
We're telling our audience all about you. Put those on, Rick, if you could, so you can hear.
Headset right there.
Okay.
And you just put that mic right up where you feel good, and you're all set.
You're on.
That works, huh?
You're on SoberSmash.
Good. Thanks for having me.
And once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Rick Riccardi. He is the founder, CEO of Fellowship Living, and certainly involved in a lot of other great programs and organizations throughout the South Florida area. And it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you very much.
We were just talking about the golf tournament.
And how was it?
Well, we were talking about the bird I hit on the eighth hole.
I heard.
Yeah. I actually
heard now.
I actually hit a bird. My driver splits in two, goes into the water, the ball goes to the right, and took out a seagull.
Wow. What'd you score on the hole, or what'd you get on the hole?
We birdied the hole, so we
were
the first team ever to get two birdies on one hole.
That's a first.
That's a first. That was about the only good thing we did the whole day, though.
That was it.
Oh, and the lunch.
Yeah.
We did the lunch well.
Yeah.
Lunch was good. Did
you play that day?
Yes. I if you call it playing, I just was out there hitting the ball a lot. Yes. but I didn't do well.
We were in a race for last. We're not worried about it.
Yeah.
We're not worried about it.
So, Rick, I've been to your facilities, Fellowship Living, absolutely fantastic program. I got to tell you, I've been to a lot of programs in Florida and other states, and you're doing it the right way.
Thank you.
You're definitely doing it the right way. Very impressed. Staff is phenomenal. Beautiful wife. You do it together. A lot of support there, and that's the way to do things.
Yeah.
Very
Appreciate it.
impressed. What got you started in this whole journey?
Recovery itself. I mean, I have coming on 23 years this month, so and I got sober in Manhattan, and when I came into the program, I had lost everything, like most people, my business and all. So I spent many years trying to figure out how to get it back. I got to get it back, you know.
Sure. Yeah.
And I see a lot of people struggling over getting back what they had, and it didn't work out. It took a long time for me to give up that. And I have a story that is a little different in terms of I wound up in jail after 10 years of sobriety. And in jail, I saw guys struggling to find a place to go from jail.
Right.
And the only available place that I saw that people were coming in was First Step House. Have been running that place for a long time, and there were lots of guys trying to get into there because going back home wasn't really a good option for most people. Still isn't.
Right.
So while I was there, I was observing that and saying, yeah, there's obviously a need for some help out there in terms of recovery. And I was on a 2-year house arrest as part of my sentence. So I was in jail for a year, 2-year house arrest. So try to get a job on house arrest for 2 years.
That's a tough one.
It's like, you got to be kidding me. Plus I had like 200 hours of community service I had to do. So, trying to survive under that environment.
Wow.
And so what happened, I was thinking, what the heck, what can I do that makes this work? And I had been in real estate before. My history is I was on Wall Street for 25 years, had my own firm, blah, blah, blah. But when I came down here, I had lost all that in recovery. So I became a realtor, and in real estate, I recognized how to do apartments, and so I got into that. So when I was on house arrest, I said, there's a solution. I'll buy. I didn't have any money, but I got somebody, in this case, my sons, my family, to buy 6 apartments in a little complex, which is now our women's house. You didn't see that, but anyway, so we started that, and I said I could work here. I could fix this place up over the next 2 years while I'm on house arrest. I can bring some people in and give them some place to go that I just saw people not a place to go in jail, and get it started. So it's an odd way to start it, but it was like forced on me. God did it for me.
But you made it work.
Yeah, I mean, it was terrific, really. A way to change my whole life. God put that situation in my life, and I can only pray that that's the best thing could have happened to me.
That's fantastic.
So that's been around for, the Fellowship Living has now been around for?
Since 2005.
Since 2005. Right. So it's, what, 12 years?
Coming on in August, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we started off with, obviously you start off with 2 guys, 4 guys, 6 guys. Eventually that facility held 20-something guys. And
what does it have currently?
It has now 35 women. We bought the building next door, and we rent a building across the street, so it's a little community in Fort Lauderdale down off of Davie Boulevard.
Right.
And then after a few years of that, we had the opportunity to buy the buildings up in Margate on the lake up there. So,
why did you pick the Margate area?
Well, while I was in real estate, I had developed some friends, and I was in downtown Rotary Club. I was involved in the local communities. And this realtor called me and said, would you be interested in expanding your place? I got a couple of buildings up in Margate to take a look at. It was simple as that. I looked at those buildings and said, this would be perfect. Went back to my sons and said, hey, guys, would you like to buy a couple of buildings for some more, I must tell you, when I first came up with this idea for my kids, it was like, you got to be kidding me. You're going to buy some buildings, put some alcoholics and drug addicts in it, and you think that's a good idea. And I said, it's a wonderful idea.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, right. So
it's a great
and
idea.
it worked out fine. But anyway, so those buildings became available. The city itself is accommodating, which is a major problem in our industry. Cities don't want us in their neighborhoods. But anyway, so the city allowed that to happen, and then.
I'm sure you educated the city about what your plans were. And
Well, initially I didn't have to. Basically, it was just those two buildings, which was 16 apartments, they were already zoned group housing.
Okay.
So we could just start.
And now you have the city's support.
Yeah, I eventually became president of the Chamber of Commerce in Margate. I'm now on the board of directors of the Chamber of Commerce in Pompano Beach, and that's part of our mission, to get rid of the stigma and make people aware of how we operate and how good places can help the community.
Right.
I'm part of the Rotary Club in Fort Lauderdale still, and my whole mission is to carry the message to the communities how we actually enhance communities, and how we're not the bad guys. The bad guys might hurt them, but we can help you. So.
Yeah, we were just talking about that, Jonesy and myself. People love talking about what's bad always. Misery.
Right.
People love hearing about it. There's not enough said about what's good. And the people are doing the good things. Like, you're doing fantastic things. Yeah. People need to know about that.
Sure. I'm part of the Greater Alliance, Fort Lauderdale Greater Alliance, which is all the major corporations in the city, in Broward belong to that group.
Right.
I mean, everybody serious belongs to us. And we're just hanging in there. We joined at the lowest level because it's expensive. But the idea that we're there puts us in the game, lets people know that we're real. This isn't something to hide from. This is a real industry that really has potential and is also helping people. So,
and it's all about the awareness.
Yeah.
People know that you're there, like you said, you're in the game. People know it's real.
Sure.
And get rid of the stigmas.
Sure. I asked the lady in research, I said, do some research for me and tell me the impact that we can have as a result of people coming to Florida for recovery. Because everybody measures how many people are moving into the town, how many moving in, and how we're growing, and how the industries are, and it's all good stuff. But somehow our growth, our people coming into the industry is a bad thing.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, tell me, the impact we could have, and why we're not counted as being people who get sober, get jobs,
stay in the community,
help community,
put money into the community, end up voting for those local officials.
Exactly. I mean,
that seems like a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, these are the enhancements you were just talking about, how you can enhance a community.
Sure.
Certainly. Any community service attached with your properties at all?
Sure. It's part of part of recovery is service. So not only do we do service for people in recovery for each other, but we do community service. Our community service programs, they become programs, but they're like, we've just volunteers. So when the city needs help setting up some kind of an event, they'll call us.
Wow.
They call us for the senior center. We'll help them. The churches call us for helping around their facilities, especially the hard work like digging out.
Yeah.
We're putting in a new lawn out of this concrete parking lot. Would you send some guys over to dig it up,
great.
Please? But anyway, we do service all over the community. Yeah.
What's the average stay of someone in one of your communities?
The average would be, because we have long-term people there too, like 3, 4, and 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the average is distorted. It might be a year. But I would say the median is 6 months to 9 months is where most people stay.
Now, do you see the change from somebody from day one till 6, 7, 8 months, like progress?
Oh, my God, yeah.
Do you track this? Or?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's a big deal. Our whole industry has never had any evidence that we do anything. So me seeing it doesn't mean anything.
I know we do that here on the inpatient treatment side. We track, progress every day.
Sure.
We're an evidence-based treatment center.
Sure. Well, we've adopted the ARMS program, which is John Lehman's program out of Cashbox, which he's been developing over the last 3 or 4 years, and we've been using that this year. We're part of the pilot program. There's 600 residents that are actually part of that program. We have 200, and it's a research program called Recovery Capital, started by Dr. Best out over in England, but we're part of that research program.
What does it actually measure?
Well, it measures progress, specifically what you're saying. So recovery capital being I came in here, I had no job, I got a job. I came in here, I had no relationship with my mother, I got that. So you just measure every item, whether it's social, emotional, spiritual, physical. There's 4 or 5 different categories that we can measure.
Sure.
And we also track what people are doing. They've done so much service. They make their bed, they didn't make their bed. They wash their dishes, they didn't wash their dishes. They did this community, they did whatever activities they do, and then we measure how that is affecting their recovery. Are they stronger than people who don't? Are they better than or worse than? And we can measure all these different things.
So you're assigning a real value to a sober life.
Absolutely.
In all those cases. And, you know, we obviously tell people that here all the time. If you don't have a value in something, you don't go after it.
Sure.
So by doing that, that's terrific. That's terrific.
What happens is most people think that recovery housing or sober living is a house where people move into and pay their rent and then go do their thing. We have recovery residence basically is a structured environment for safety and development of their recovery, and their recovery is all about psychic change. You've heard that 1,000 times. So what is psychic change? That means like I have to want to help somebody else. I want to do service without getting paid. I want to get a job and feel good. I want to pay my rent. I want to help. You know, I mean, that's all psychic change. Where you came from is now different.
And it's also all about the structure and teaching somebody accountability.
Sure.
And I would think that's a very large part of your program.
Absolutely. We have as I said, about 180 men, 35 women, and we have 8 managers that all live on campus on our property. And all of them have come through the program. All of them are certified recovery coaches, which we have another thing, recovery resources, which is Recovery Foundation, Fellowship Foundation. We certify people for, and they're recovery coaches specifically. It's a 3-day course. And we also have recovery house managers training, so that there's a whole program. Actually, 4 people from the FAR organization did that 3 years ago, different managers around the state. And there's an actual FAR book on management, which we use. FAR hasn't been able to use it much. But anyway, so we train managers and we train recovery coaches. So those two combined basically take their personalities, each manager's personality into, and their responsibility is, in our case, they manage 32 people each. So we have 6 managers with 32 people, 7 managers with 32 people each, and then we have a director overseeing that. But each manager is basically responsible for everything from their toilet paper to their jobs to their whatever they do. That's their job.
Well, that's a nice setup.
Manage it.
I tell you, talk about accountability.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And I guess that's the difference between when you're describing maybe sober housing versus sober living. You're actually affecting their entire life and helping them.
Sure.
And you know, that brings up the point. I'm sure there's people out here listening that are looking for quality sober living situations. How does somebody qualify, and or are there waiting lists, or you know, what is the process here? Do you have qualifications that you have to meet?
Well, you know, we've come to the point where, as a result of being around for 5 years and actually having thousands of people through us, that our referral system's pretty strong around the country, around here. So, unfortunately, we have to turn away 2 or 3 people every day from coming in. But we do have a waiting list of 15 people from somebody who might call from treatment or jail or whatever. We collect calls from jail, by the way. One of those things I learned you better do. Those poor people can't get they can't get to talk to anybody. The least we can do is answer the phone. But anyway, so we if we can't take them, we'll send them to other recovery residents that we know are good and FAR certified, and also we experience that they are good recovery residences.
Let's make a point of that. You don't just send them away if you can't help it. You will help find something for them.
Sure. Okay. But our requirement is that they want to get sober. There's no other requirement except they convince us that their main reason for wanting to come with us is that they want to get sober. Everything else falls behind. I mean, we're a little unique, and I don't expect everybody to do this, but because we're big enough, we do it. But we'll take people with no money, no jobs, no anything, and they can come in and get started. So, And get started means they sit over there at the computer and they start looking for a job, and they find their first meeting they're going to today.
I love it.
Their first day on at our place.
Right.
So they get the joke. You're not here to mess. You're not here to live. You're here to get sober. So
You know what I always hear, Rick? I don't know if this is common. When somebody completes a treatment program, we get a lot of people saying, you know what? I don't need sober living. I can just go and get an apartment, or I'm going to go back home where it all started and go back there because you cured me. I'm good.
Right.
I was at your treatment center for 60 days. I feel great right now. You know what? I'm going back to my house in New Jersey. My friends are waiting for me. I haven't seen them, in 60 days. They want to go out. I'm not going to party with them anymore. I'm not going to do drugs. I'm not going to drink. Well, I'm going to have fun.
Sure.
I'm ready to go do that. What do you say to that person? And I'm sure you hear that. Of course.
It's the I mean, it's pretty simple, right? The big book says
Yeah.
that we need a psychic change, or we're the same person. Drinking and drugging is just a symptom. So what have we changed in the 30 days of treatment?
Right.
Are we still, all our jealousy issues are gone, all our anger issues are gone, all our resentments are gone? I mean, come on, like, you didn't get started yet.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Right.
So what happens is you go back to that same environment and all those triggers get punched right away.
Right.
So you need to go to a safe environment where those triggers aren't there, and you learn from other people how to get through issues on a day-to-day basis. I mean, why would you not want to do that? The people you were at home with were basically there when you were using, so why would you want to put yourself back in that environment without ever changing anything that you came here for?
That's right. So, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and I see a lot of people are writing in. We have questions for Rick, and be right back in 1 minute. Stand by.
Welcome to Treatment Partners of America, your partner in recovery. Treatment Partners of America is a unique, state-of-the-art substance abuse facility. Our trained professionals first focus on finding the core issues in trauma that lead to addiction. With some of the best doctors, nurses, and behavioral health techs the industry has to offer. We offer personalized one-on-one therapy 5 days a week, raising the bar to a higher level of standards. Whether it's drugs, alcohol, eating disorders, gambling, sex and love addiction, or even relationship addiction, Treatment Partners of America has specialists to treat and to help heal your addiction long-term rather than attempt a temporary 30-day quick fix.
And we're back here at SoberSmash Live. Our special guest, Rick Riccardi, the founder and CEO of Fellowship Living. And he's been sharing a lot of great information with us, Scott.
He sure has, Jonesy. A lot of people are looking at what to do when you need sober living, or you don't believe in sober living, you don't believe in treatment, you can do it on your own. My advice to you is you can't.
No.
It's not going to happen. We got a question here on Facebook. They're saying, what advice would you give to loved ones that have reservations about sober living in Florida?
Well, my first reaction is to have them call us, or have them call somebody here directly. They can call the recovery center that we have. It's about resources and information, and we in turn can give them whatever information they need.
And I think that goes back to what we were just talking about, Rick. There's good players and there's bad players, and the cream always rises to the top.
Sure.
And I can say, Rick's operation is the cream. So whatever reservations you have about sober living in Florida itself, look at the good players. Don't, focus on what's bad.
Sure. And when I was talking about that Greater Reliance, they had their own research, and I said, but all they could find was bad stuff. There wasn't a single research done on anything good in our industry ever.
Yeah.
research on bad is all over the place. So
That's right.
yeah.
That's right.
So,
JC's writing, tell us why your sober living is different than someone else's that we might go to.
hopefully, it's not that much different. I mean, the bad guys don't care about sober living. They basically have a house that you go to rent a room in, and then you're on your own. I mean, that's bottom line bad. Mm-hmm. Sober living is all about recovery and coaching or managing a house. So if you have a house that doesn't have a full-time manager in it, that's the first key that's not the place you want to be.
Right.
You want to be at a place that has supervision, structure. They want to make sure that you're doing the right thing. And it isn't about catching you doing bad stuff. It's about asking you to follow rules so that you learn how to take care of yourself.
That's right. Teaching them the life skills, helping them out.
And helping them to achieve the things that they want to achieve. You mentioned at the beginning of the show that you were trying to get your old life back, and it turns out that's not really the life you should be living.
Exactly.
So a lot of people that leave treatment, and Scott and I see it every day, they have no idea what they want to do or where they want to go. And to have some sort of guidance, to have somebody to help them feel their way, maybe get back into school, do things like that. This is what you're about, isn't that correct?
Absolutely. I'm really serious about in our recovery center, our resource center, to actually have a course on purpose in life. Because we all struggle with that. Am I really doing what I'm supposed to be doing?
Right.
And that, when I worked on Wall Street for 25 years, very successful at one time, and then lost it all as a result of my drinking.
Did you ever think you'd be doing what you're doing today?
Hell no.
Of course not. Kidding me? Exactly.
It took me a while to realize I was an alcoholic. So this is like real. But what struck me is that until I was forced not to be able to do what I used to do, that I decide I better do something else, and what the hell would that be?
Right.
Until I was forced into the situation to see, like, wow, maybe this is it, because it looks so simple to do for me.
Sure.
That God put it in my like, here, bud, do this.
Hey, I remember falling off drum risers on stage going, this is the greatest thing in the world. What am I doing here now every day? I'm telling people don't do that.
Right.
I thought life couldn't be any better than that.
Sure.
Things change.
Yeah.
We got another question here from John. Do you feel more people would benefit if insurance covered aftercare or sober living?
What a great question. That leads into what I really want to talk about.
Wonderful.
The whole world focuses on noticing the government now is really giving millions of dollars for, Vivitrol, all this good stuff. Good stuff, right? The government's finally aware. Insurance companies are all of a sudden looking at maybe other ways, but it's all about getting people into a system, almost like, okay, now you're married, have a great life.
Right.
Instead of like, what does that life look like when you come out of that system we're putting you into? And there is no aftercare support for anything.
Right.
You come out of treatment, you come out of jail, you come off the street, you got nothing. You still got nothing except that month or that time. And now you're starting your life all over again. So people come to our house with no money, no jobs. We charge them for the rent. They don't have to pay it right away. They pay us back. But you think about, it takes you 6 weeks to get your first paycheck. The pressure of not having any money for those 6 weeks, and how do you eat? How do you pay your phone bill? How do you get on the bus? How do you? Like, you know what? I might as well get drunk.
Sure.
Yeah.
That right
Good
there,
point.
if there was some way that government and or insurance companies could take that burden off of the first 2 weeks or the first month.
Sure.
So that people, then they would follow certain criteria. Let's say at our house, if they didn't follow through, they'd get thrown out, so they'd be back where they're supposed to be. But most people would then have, that lifted off, and they could actually look and have much more hope. Because they also owe everybody around them $5. You know how that goes.
Sure.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And I think that what they've seen is we've seen a decline in the amount that the insurance companies and government will pay for, because they're seeing systems that don't work. But the reason it doesn't work is because there's no continuum.
Continual care. Exactly.
They get to a certain point where we can do so much, and then they're cut off.
Right.
And like you said, they're thrown to the wolves.
Sure. And how do you stay sober even with 30 days behind you and not have a job, and not be able to get a job, not have any money to get on the bus, or not have a phone, or not have an address? I mean, how do you go to a job and say, you know what, where do you live? On the street? I mean, What do you mean, where do I live? You have to have an address. Where do you get an address unless you go to a recovery residence? I mean, where do you get the money for it? So,
Tell us about the Fellowship Foundation that you have.
Well, we started this as a result of we want to get a resource center and an information center so that people could call in and ask questions, or parents could call, or people could come in and talk about where to go live, where do I get my clothes. There's hundreds of resources right here in Broward County, hundreds of them.
Yeah.
But nobody quite knows how to find one,
Right.
Sure.
And
And at that moment, people aren't thinking clearly, and people panic. They don't know what to do. It's I think it's our job to educate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so we have booklets, we have plenty of pamphlets, and you have your issue, we'll try to get you a resolution to that, whether it's housing or food or clothing.
And that's open to everyone.
Anybody interested in recovery or in recovery. So, and it's a 3,000 square foot building. So there are meetings in there. We do a lot of classes.
Oh, that's good.
We do some music programs, just for people coming
Right.
who play some, for example, somebody comes out of treatment and let's say they get excited about, what, I used to play the guitar or whatever,
Right.
And I lost it all. Well, you could come to this center with other people who have that same issue and start playing again, just in front of each other.
That's great.
Just a place to come and hang out on a
Makes
Tuesday or
everyone
Friday.
happy.
Yeah.
Everyone happy. when you
Preaching
start
to the
playing
choir
music.
here, I'll tell you.
Sure, we're firm
we're all
believers
about
of
the
that.
music.
Yeah, we'll serve the coffee,
It's all about it's all about the bass.
Yeah. So
Well, I noticed a lot of peer-based recovery support services, peer leadership and coaching. So you really connect. It's not just a staff that's taking care of people. You're connecting recovery with recovery, right?
Yes. The whole thing about fellowship is that, so not only is the staff there, I mean, people in the community hang together. They start developing relationships. They come to the resource center across the street. They basically bring their friends there. We have every holiday, we have community involvement and community parties. On 4th of July, we have a professional band that are all in recovery, so they'll just come over and play for the day. They'll set up and do it. We'll have Thanksgiving dinner. I mean, we do everything on holidays to make you feel like you're home. I personally and a bunch of our guys will serve breakfast, for example, on Christmas morning, just like, you get up, this is your day, it's Christmas morning.
Right.
We're going to cook breakfast for you. You're going to just come over in your pajamas or whatever you want. Just order your breakfast and we'll serve it.
That sounds good to me. I'm just.
You're welcome.
I got nothing going on Sunday morning.
I'll
I'll be
pick you
over.
up at 7, Jonesy. We're heading over there.
But the whole idea is to make it family and make it
That's great.
community. So
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, that's how we try to keep it.
I think everyone needs that support.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have those family values and you have a newfound family,
Sure.
it only gets better.
Sure, and that's the key. We try to give people, we talk about, you start off with a couple of key things. Give everybody hope.
Sure.
This is a place for hope, and then it's through structure and responsibility that you can see hope evolves into reality. And so that's core. And the other thing we always keep in mind, because we get asked this all the time, how do you do this and that? The principle of principles before personality is always there. No matter, that's how everybody treats everybody. Remember that. This is what's the principle here. What's the issue here? Let's not get involved with personalities and emotions and stuff. So we can keep those couple things going. Keep us on course.
So if somebody wants to reach you about Fellowship Foundation and/or the sober living,
How do they reach you?
Well, probably easiest number to remember is our sober living, 954-972-9495.
We'll also put a link up on the website, so if anybody wants to contact Rick at Fellowship Living, please do so. And Rick, we want to thank you. You've been a great guest, very informative. I'm thinking you're going to have a lot of people contacting you about what you're doing. And listen, everybody, check out what he's doing. He's doing the right thing, great people, and you need to support great people. Rick, thanks so much, buddy.
Thank you very much.
You've been
Good to see you,
Sober
Rick.
Smash.
For sure. Thank you.